Oh, goodness. Make that a little bit bigger. Hey, Patrick Kelley. I'm a distinguished architect here at Zoom. I'm not a spokesman for Zoom, and this idea certainly doesn't come from Zoom or anybody in particular. I was brainstorming with both a customer and a partner of ours. I'm not going to say their name. They can feel free to name themselves later after they watch this video. About synchronizing files between platforms. When I'm talking about platforms, I'm talking about Zoom and Microsoft, honestly, in this point. Zoom Team Chat as well as Microsoft Teams. And obviously, you can do meetings and files and chats in both platforms. And I prefer Zoom for all my communication needs of meetings and phone and audio and video. Some people might have Teams in their environment. So sometimes when we are in those two environments, we still need to collaborate and share files between these two platforms. And the old way is just, hey, I'm going to email it to you, or I'm going to send you a OneDrive link, or I'm going to send you even a G Drive link. But what if you could, agnostic of platform, share files automatically between both Microsoft Teams and Zoom Team Chat? Literally automatically share files asynchronously or dynamically. Here's an idea. I've never seen this done before, and maybe there's a reason because it's a bad idea. But here's a thought, is that one of the great things about Zoom Team Chat is that you can integrate it with Microsoft SharePoint. If you're a Microsoft customer and you're using SharePoint as your file repository and you don't want to have another file repository solution, or you'd like to have your file repository solution streamlined, one of the ways you can do that is use Zoom Team Chat and integrate that with your SharePoint file repository. I've done 7 or 8 videos on this. I'm not going to go through it again. But here's an example. And here's an idea. I have Zoom right here. I have a SharePoint integration channel literally right here. It's obviously integrated with SharePoint. And there's 2 ways to tell if it's integrated with SharePoint. One, if you go to Files down here, you can see all the Microsoft Office 365 files are available right here. I can literally create new files on the fly right from Zoom Team Chat, goes right into SharePoint. If you were to go here where it says More Actions, if you go to More Actions, if your team channel your Zoom Team Chat channel is integrated with SharePoint, you're going to see a new choice called SharePoint Files. Here's a cool thing is that all the files that I've pushed into this Zoom Team Chat channel are automatically pushed to SharePoint. And let's go there. Let's just go to SharePoint real quick. Right here is SharePoint. It's SharePoint, my SharePoint admin tenant. I'm going to go to the active sites. Here's an important thing to note is that this SharePoint integrated channel is right here. So let's get into it. But more importantly, let's look what I did right here. I connected this SharePoint site to Teams. I connected it to Teams. If you don't know how to do that, that's a whole other video. I'm sure you can Google it and figure it out. So when I go into this SharePoint site, I actually have a Teams choice. And actually right here on the screen, you're going to see that I've enabled Teams for this SharePoint integration channel. Now, what that means is all the files, remember I just showed you in Zoom, all the files that I've pushed to that Zoom channel, all right here. All of those files are on the back end of SharePoint. I've done a number of videos on this. Here's the cool thing. Let's go to Teams, Microsoft Teams right now. Since I connected that SharePoint site to a team, look what I have. I have a SharePoint integrated channel from Zoom right here inside of Teams. Inside of Teams. Are you getting the point? It's inside of Teams. If you look at the right side under Files, look at all those. Do you recall what the name of the files were? in SharePoint and in Zoom. Let's just pull it up. Do you see how they match up? All of these files I've pushed to SharePoint through Zoom Team Chat. I uploaded a file into Zoom Team Chat. It then uploads it to SharePoint, and then Teams and Zoom have now synchronized files. Are you kidding me? Why that's cool is, let's go back into that Zoom channel real quick, is now every single file that I push is now automatically synchronized with the Microsoft Teams channel. And now I can collaborate via files in SharePoint, in Zoom, and in Teams. I think this is the coolest thing ever. And all of these website review, don't know what that is, but I'm sure it'll be exciting. All of these things can be done literally within minutes. You can see that I've created a new PowerPoint file. Look at that, create a new PowerPoint file. I've actually mailed something from Outlook into the team channel. Guess what? That mail is right here. I'm working on a Zoomtopia thing. Guess what? That is right here. Golf ball thing is right here. Every single time I put a file into Zoom Team Chat, it pushes it to SharePoint. SharePoint then pushes it to Teams. Not really pushes it. It's just a viewer into what's on SharePoint. Now, think about that workflow. I now could be a user in Zoom. I now could be a user in Microsoft Teams. I can be external or internal. I can now share all my files through a channel using this. I don't know if you'd call it a hack. It's just an idea I came up with that, hey, how do customers share files without actually having to mail them or having to send a link to something? This could be an easy way to do it. Integrate those channels with SharePoint and Zoom, and now Zoom or Teams, you can get access to that file, synchronize whenever you want. Here's an even cooler thing. If I open that file, right? If I open that file, I can now co-author on that file with either platform. Because when I open a file, in Teams, right? It opens up the web browser version of Office. The same thing happens in Zoom. If I open up a file in Zoom, that SharePoint file is literally integrated with Zoom and Teams, and then I can open up this file, and this one just called golf ball. I don't know why it's called golf ball. I just made something up, and you can now co-author on that file, whether you're in Zoom and or Teams. That's just an idea I came up with, just a cool little workflow. I don't know if it has any legs, but the next level is like, hey, Patrick, that's great. We can do synchronized files. How do you synchronize chat between both platforms? I think you need to have a discussion with my boys over at Mio, and they can tell you exactly how that's done.